Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a brand new soul path reading. As I was channeling today's collective energy update that's available on the community tab, on Instagram, or cross-posted to Facebook, it's one of the written channelings that I do and kind of tend to cross-post to everywhere. As I was channeling that message today, I was getting a very strong ancestor energy coming through, a very supportive energy. And so I knew that I wanted to dive deeper into that energy. So we're going to do that today. So I want to first start with reading the collective energy update, the message, the channeling that I had received. So we're going to start here. When the spread first came out, I heard the phrase deciding your destiny. This has been a process you've been undergoing for some time now on a journey of self-discovery and interconnection. We had the Nine of Pentacles, we had the Magician, and we had the Eight of Cups. And on the bottom of the deck, we had the Six of Wands and the Queen of Swords, just for reference. And I'll just show you guys, since I have video here, I'll just show you guys what that looks like. Okay, so the Nine of Pentacles represents your independence and recognizing your wholeness. Independence doesn't mean independent from others. With regards to relationships, this school of thought is based on old templates wherein to claim one's independence meant to be solely on one's own. However, in this higher frequency, in this higher template, in healthy connection, friendship, partnership, whatever you're referencing, both parties honor one's independence as well as the sacredness of the partnership itself that's created. That's that Trinity energy where we've always talked about with sacred partners, where you learn that inner union to be whole on your own and recognize your wholeness on your own. Your person is recognizing their wholeness on their own, and then you come together in that interdependence, in that wholeness, to form that third energy, which is that relationship. Your relationship is an energy in and of itself that you nurture, that you cultivate, that you put forth the effort in. That is that sacred container that is created from the two of you. And so in these higher conscious connections, what happens is you in your conscious state, in your wholeness, is matched frequency-wise with another person going through their soul growth journey, or who has been on their soul growth journey, who is in their conscious awareness and frequency and wholeness, and you come together in that sacred partnership. And we dive deep into sacred partnerships here on this channel because that's a lot of what we as a collective, my collective that I channel for. Not everybody's on this path, but the collective that I channel for, that's the path that catalyzed you to your soul path, to your awakening, to your ascension journey. That's been the journey that you've experienced. But in any connection, whether this is a friendship, whether this is a family dynamic, whether this is a romantic relationship and those intimate partnerships, that sacred partnership, all connections are considered sacred. All connections are considered that third energy that you then cultivate, whether that's a friendship or a romantic relationship or a family dynamic. It's that third energy that you then create. So in order to reach that conscious interdependence with another, a journey of understanding the self must be reached. And we talk about that all the time, how to know oneself is, to love oneself is the pursuit. It is that soul growth. It's that expansion. And the more that you know yourself, connect with yourself, and love yourself, the more you're able to have that healthy conscious connection with another person. So in this instance, we said you've been undergoing a journey of deep introspection and transformation in which you've begun to honor and recognize yourself in the fullness of all you are. This has meant walking away from past beliefs or thoughts you may have once held about yourself, about others, or about the world around you. However, rather than feeling the lack, you're understanding what it means to manifest in co-creation with the world around you. You're looking towards the future as you recognize your innate ability to create your future through this personal power that is your conscious choices and actions. Your personal power is your inner authority. It's your self-empowerment. Your personal power is your ability to create through conscious choices and actions. We say it all the time that you might not be able to control the environment, situations, other people. You can't. It's just a matter of fact. You can't control other people, the environment, situations around you. You're not meant to. You're not meant to. That's God's energy. That's, the universe's power. You're not meant to. You're meant to control yourself. That's your personal power. But that personal power is greater than you realize. your personal power through your choices. How do you choose to react, to respond, to engage with yourself, with others, with the world around you, with situations? How you choose to interact with yourself and with others and the world around you is your personal empowerment. And how you choose to act, the steps that you choose to take, the choices that you make creates your future. But that's where your power comes from, your personal power. It comes from your choices. That's where you have your power. And understanding this has been your healing. So we said you may be at a brief pause as you reflect on where you've been, the lessons you've learned, the wisdom gained, and as you consider where you want to go. In tarot, the Eight of Cups always leads to the Nine of Cups and the Ten of Cups. In this state of being, you get to decide your path forward. You get to decide your destiny. We said be open-hearted and honest with yourself about what, and for some, even with whom, is important to you. Allow yourself to express yourself to yourself in true clarity and vulnerability of what's in your heart. Be open and honest with yourself. You don't have to share this with anyone else. But the most important thing is that you're not in self-denial. That creates an energy of self-sabotage where then you repeat the same patterns and processes. Allow yourself to be open and honest with yourself about what's in your heart. How do you feel? What are your desires? What is it that you want for your life? What do you want to create for yourself? What's important to you? And even for some, who is important to you? Go deep within to that place to where your soul wants to be honored and allow yourself to be conscious of what you're creating through your choices and actions going forward. We always say this now moment is your personal point of power. This now moment. You can take all the lessons and all the learning and all that wisdom from what came before and you carry that with you. But this point of power right here, right now, this is your turning point. And you always have the opportunity to choose a new turning point, to choose a new direction, to choose your destiny. You get to decide. Your destiny begins with you. So tune into your heart space, tune into your intuition. As we were channeling that, we were getting a very, again, heavy, strong energy, not heavy, but strong energy of ancestral support, spiritual support. There is a lot that is supporting you at this time. So you're never alone, ever, ever, never in this life, even though sometimes it might feel that way. So I wanted to tune in and see what other messages we might have today. We're going to use the Sacred Geometry activation cards first. And then I think we might use the Angels and Ancestors cards, which I haven't used in a very long time. But let's just see what wants to come through. Spirit, what is this about? Tell us more. What is this about? There's so much that is changing now. We really are at the apex, where we are shifting timelines. We are shifting our journeys, our phases, into new stages of our life. But as an overall collective energy as well. And we've channeled a lot of this in the Sacred Breath channeling. We channeled a lot of this in past soul path readings. Yeah, look at this. Empowerment, allowance, and sacral chakra. This is your personal empowerment. This is your personal power. You can't control other people, other things. But that's almost what I'm getting is that's where you have to be fearless. I have the card Romantic Love at the bottom of the deck, and I'm almost getting drawn to this as an example, as like the ultimate example, because romantic relationships are our most intimate relationships, and they require us to be fearless. They require us to be really deeply vulnerable, both with ourselves and with our partner. It requires healthy, conscious relationships require honesty. It requires being conscious with one another, being present with one another. It requires intimacy. It requires transparency. And you can't do that unless you are first fully honoring, transparent, honest with yourself. And so I feel like this is a prime example because in romantic relationships, sometimes it takes that leap of faith. Sometimes it takes being fearless. They're reminding me of, what's his name? Matt Damon in We Bought a Zoo, the movie We Bought a Zoo. It's based on a real person named Benjamin. I can't remember what his name is. Anyway, regardless of that, his character in the movie says it only takes 20 seconds. 20 seconds of insane courage to take that leap of faith, to take that next step. 20 seconds, just 20 seconds of insane courage. But what is happening within those 20 seconds? We've channeled that 20 seconds before, but this is new. This is interesting. They're saying what happens within those 20 seconds? Well, within those 20 seconds, you're trusting your intuition. You're taking that leap of faith based on your intuition before your ego mind gets caught in the thoughts and the what ifs and the past patterns and the fears of patterns repeating itself or experiences repeating itself and fears of pain. Because after those 20 seconds, guess what happens? The mind then clicks in and says, the ego then clicks in and says, oh, we've seen this before. This is what could be, this is familiar. This is what could be possible. You could be rejected. You could be abandoned. You could be forgotten. You could be hurt. This could bring about heartbreak again because look how heartbroken you were in the past. But if you just, I'm hearing, if you lived your life by those 20 seconds, by that insane courage, being very present with yourself, 20 seconds of insane courage, just taking that leap of faith, being fearless. What happens? You take that leap of faith, you trust your intuition. You can't control how another person reacts or receives you or understands you, but you can control what you do with yourself and the choices that you make. And when you take that leap of faith, it empowers you because you overcome that fear. I can't tell you how many times I have had to overcome fear. Every post I have written, every video that I share, I am on here being vulnerable every single day. And it takes a lot of courage to do that with people who are strangers ultimately. But you guys have just been so receptive and so beautifully open and so caring and generous and supportive that it makes it easier. But when I first started, man, I was terrified. And even when I was a blogger, when I was doing those writing, even when I'm publishing my books, I don't know how that's going to be received. I create and I send it out into the world, having no idea how it's going to be received. I have faced harassment from people who don't like what I've written or like what I say. I have faced people who don't share these same beliefs. And all I can do is just respect that and say, okay, but I'm expressing myself. I have faced rejection from people who just don't like my book. And all I can say is, okay, well, that's subjective. It's not for everybody. That's one of the greatest gifts I've ever learned as a writer is, publishing your books. Not everybody's going to like you. I think I shared that recently. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's for you. I have a very innocent nature about me. Some might even call it naive, where I want to believe the best in everybody. Truly. And I do believe the best in everybody. I see the best in everybody. And that kind of gets me in trouble sometimes. Because I want to believe the best in everybody, but not everybody is for you. Not everybody's going to like you. And not everybody's going to like your work either. It's subjective. When you look at publishing, when you look at books, for example, there are books that just don't resonate with me, that I just don't like. There are books that I've wanted to throw across the room because I hated the book so much, that other people loved. But it's all subjective, and that's where you have respect. Okay, it might not be for me, I might not like it, but that's just one opinion. That's just me. That's where you allow yourself just to use your own discernment, to believe in yourself and trust in yourself. And that's where you allow yourself to be fearless regardless. Because there are so many times when, what was I saying? Oh yeah, as a blogger, I share a lot of myself. I share, my journey I've been sharing my journey of self-development, self-discovery, my own soul path since maybe 2006, 2007 when I first started blogging. And so every time I would hit publish on a very deep piece of writing, I would be terrified. I would shake. But I would always remember the quote Maggie Kuhn said, "Speak your truth even if your voice shakes." It's not about suppressing yourself. It's about allowing yourself to express yourself and not being afraid of how that's received. That's your point of power. Now, you don't have to go out, and share everything, and I certainly don't share everything in my life. I have that discernment. of what my heart is calling me to share and what it's not. And I have that respect of other people if there are other people involved. But it's allowing yourself to be truly honoring of yourself and be fearless in that pursuit. I want to share this with you guys. It was very interesting why they're calling me to do this. In the past week or two, I've received a couple of emails from you guys after doing readings for you, for clients, where you have shared with me your journey and how grateful you've been to find me. And I say that incredibly humbly. I want you to know how humbly I say that. And I want you to know how much that means to me. And I received permission from a client. I was going to use this as a testimonial, but I'm going to share it here. She says, I've been following you since November of 2022. I was crying out real bad one night, got on Instagram, and you were in my feed, but it was like a similar to what you follow type of post. So I clicked your page after I watched your reel, followed you and your YouTube channel, been in love with your channeling and videos ever since. You did my 2023 reading in February. Some of that has already been manifesting, especially work. I had another client who said something similar, where she was like, she was feeling incredibly lost and didn't know where to turn, and then all of a sudden she found me, and the readings and the journey was resonating, and it helped her kind of grow into the person that she loves being now. When I say that humbly, I say that humbly because I've been there. And when I say that it's an honor to be doing this for you guys, I mean that it's an honor to be doing this for you guys. You know, I always say I'm right there with you, and I mean it from the very depths of my heart. I mean it. I've been in similar situations where I have been crying out and begging for some kind of guidance, and all of a sudden something shows up, and I know that it's God, the universe, moving through people to bring me some kind of clarity or truth or understanding that I need for my soul journey. I have my teachers and my mentors too, and so I don't take this role lightly. I appreciate it so much. So the reason I'm saying that is because I'm called to a scenario back when I was very, very sick. I was literally dying, and we couldn't figure out why. My heart was failing, my brain was failing, my body was failing, and we couldn't figure out why. I'd gone to some of the best hospitals in the country, gone through test after test of diagnostics, trying to figure it out. And everybody, all the doctors were saying, well, your test results are fine, so you must be fine. Meanwhile, my body was failing. And I remember I was on the couch, and I was on the phone with my mom and just crying out and begging for help. And I said, Mom, if this is it, this is it. I give up. I don't know what else there is to do. I can't keep fighting anymore. This was my moment of surrender. And my mom said, well, then I'll keep fighting for you. And I got off the phone with her, and I remember praying. And I had a fractured relationship with God back then. But I remember praying and asking God for a miracle. And the very next day, I had posted on a message board asking for help. These were my symptoms. This is my story. I don't know where to go. The very next day, somebody reached out sharing similar story, talking about similar experiences, giving me the names of doctors. And I called up the first doctor that my intuition landed on. After going down the name, I'm like, let me call this person. And I reached out, and I spent 2 hours on the phone with his wife, who was the nurse of the private practice. And she was affirming symptoms that I didn't even know were symptoms. Experiences that I was having that nobody else had taken the time to understand or listen to. That was my miracle. That was the guidance that I needed to help me on that stage of my life, that path in my life. So when I say that I'm right there with you guys, and that I've experienced that too, and how I don't take that lightly and how much I appreciate it, I want you to know how much I appreciate it. And, you know, when the time is done, you know, when we've received everything that you need to from these readings and healings and stuff, you know, So many of you guys have gone on to open your own practices and your own services. I fully encourage that and support that as well, and I want you guys to know that. But it takes sometimes moments of surrender. It takes sometimes moments of reaching out. It takes sometimes moments of fearlessness. And they're reminding us that this is where we're not alone. This is where we're not alone. But we have to reach inside of ourselves in order to take that first step. We decide our destiny. That's part of our free will. We decide our destiny. We create our destiny. But we're also in co-creation with the others around us, with the universe around us. And the universe moves through people, moves through our loved ones, it moves through strangers. Everybody's a reflection, everybody's a mirror of us to show us something within ourselves. And especially to show us, to hopefully reflect back, ultimately, the love that we have within ourselves. And how we should be loving ourselves more. As we always say, triggers are opportunities for us to see where there needs to be healing. And healing is just that place where we need to bring in more love, more connection. Love being connection with regards to God's source in the universe. And so your point of power is allowing yourself to be honest and open with yourself and vulnerable and intimate with yourself. And that then allows you to be open and honest and vulnerable and intimate with others. And that's how you build connection. And that's how you find your support system. But that support system is always for you and always around you and always with you. It's just our pain patterns, our woundedness from past experiences. That's not a blame. That's not a projection. It's just is. That's what holds us back and kind of skews our perception. But if we would really allow ourselves to shift that perception, we would see how loved and supported we truly are. And sometimes it takes just 20 seconds of insane courage to be just completely fearless, to take that first step. To allow ourselves to surrender and say, I need help, I need support, I need guidance, I need clarity, I need truth, I need love. Whatever it is that you're needing in that moment, to energetically or otherwise reach out for it. 20 minutes of insane courage, whatever it is that you're doing. This could be, maybe you are starting a business. Maybe you are starting a new job. Maybe you're relocating. Maybe you are starting a new relationship. Maybe you're reconnecting with somebody in a relationship. Whatever it is, 20 seconds of insane courage. Trust your heart. Trust your intuition. That is your personal empowerment. That is where you're supported. The universe is always honoring that free will, but the universe wants you to take that step that's in alignment with your soul, that's in alignment with you following that intuition and trusting your heart. The universe is always supporting you. There's a meme out there, which is really cute. I wish I could find it for you guys. I remember seeing it. There's a little figure at the edge of a cliff, and there's a hand that's going like this to it, almost like he's going to knock that little figure off the cliff. And then there's a hand underneath the cliff that's cupping, and it's saying, this is God, and this is God. So God's pushing you, and God's also catching you. That is there's such truth in that. That's such a prime example of the universe, of God's source. God's source is encouraging us to grow. That is Mother, Father, God's source. That is the ultimate parent, right? Kicking us out of the nest, pushing us to do our best, pushing us to go forward, challenging us to love more, be more open, be fearless in our lives, consciously fearless. That doesn't mean that you don't have fear. You're human. But it means overcoming that fear whenever that fear crops up as an emotion. And trusting your intuition as far as the steps to take to overcome that fear. Being afraid of jumping out of an airplane doesn't mean that you have to jump out of an airplane if you don't want to jump out of an airplane. But if it's a deep desire in your heart and you want it, something that you really want to do, then allow yourself to take those practical steps to do so. Maybe it means training. Maybe it means just going up in a plane for the first time. Maybe it means doing one of those free fall exhibits or exhibitions, where you're in this like container and you've got the wind blowing. The wind makes you feel like you're free falling or like you're, in the air. It's use your discernment. Balance that practical sense of self with your intuition. That is your point of balance. But anytime that fear comes up, allow yourself to take the steps to overcome it, or at least to acknowledge the fear, so that you don't have to be afraid of whatever it is anymore. 20 seconds of insane courage. When I was so afraid of pushing publish on any video or any book I've published or any post I've written, I knew it was the right thing to do intuitively, but I'd be so afraid because how would it be received? Would people understand what I was trying to say? Would people understand me? But at the end of the day, I've learned this as an artist, you can't control that. You just have to allow the message to reach who it wants to reach. You have to let the message be what it wants to be. Your best job as an artist is to just articulate or create to the best of your ability. And that's what we do every day, just to the best of our ability. We are not infallible, we're human. And so we make mistakes, but we do it with the best of intentions and we do it to the best of our ability. And we have to, at some level, surrender and trust and just let it be. But on those deeper channelings or deeper writings or whatever it was that I was putting out into the world, I would be so afraid. But I would do it anyway because it felt right. It felt right. It felt like something I was meant to do. And if, for myself personally, if I don't feel like it's something I'm meant to do, I won't do it. But I would receive such feedback of people who said, I didn't know how to articulate this, or I didn't know that somebody felt the same way, or I didn't know that I could have this kind of support. Like I said, I've experienced this too, where one day I wrote on a message board, this is what I'm experiencing, can somebody help me? And then there was this beautiful support and miracle, truly a miracle, of somebody saying, I've been here too, I can help. We are not in this alone. Not at all. But we have to open ourselves up to receive that support. Like I said, the universe is moving through everyone in mysterious ways. Maybe that support will come through a stranger. Maybe that support will come through, something in the material world, an opportunity. Maybe that support will come through a sign. But we have to be open to receiving that, understanding that the universe is always trying to create with us and helping us to take that next step forward, our best step forward on our life path, trying to guide us in the direction of where our soul is trying to lead us. The universe is always supporting us. It's interesting here with the sacral chakra. It says the frequency of the sacral chakra, the orange flower of life, supports our ability to flow with our desires, stimulates our creative power to manifest success and abundance in our life. And if you've been listening to the readings recently, we've been channeling the seed of life and how everything is interconnected. There is no separation. Everything is interconnected in our lives. We just have to allow ourselves to see the pieces, to put the pieces of that cosmic puzzle together, and everybody has a piece. Everybody has a piece. We have to shift our perspectives from thinking that the world is against us. The world is not against us. We've been against ourselves. But if we allow our perspectives to shift and realize how supported we are, that's how the world itself can shift. There's a beautiful quote that I'm just getting an inkling of, and I can't remember what it is. It's when the world, I'm going to say this absolutely incorrectly, but this is what I'm getting. When the world knows itself, then it will know its peace. Something of that. I feel like it's like something like John Lennon or something. Something about peace, and I'm messing it up, and I know I'm messing it up. But the energy I'm getting is when the world knows itself, when the world sees itself, understands itself, then the world will know peace. It's something like that, and I know I'm getting it wrong. And we can look at the actual quote as an additional message, but that's what I'm getting. It's like the world will know peace when you don't fight yourself, when you love yourself, because it starts with yourself. That is your place of personal empowerment. Everything is interconnected. I want to use these cards and see if there's any additional messages. Be the light. Shed the old skin. And harness your mystic power. Self-empowerment. And look, track down your fears and desires. This is exactly what we're channeling. This is just confirmation of everything that we've been channeling. This is your place of personal empowerment. Allowing yourself to release the old versions of yourself. Shift the perspective. Release the fears. At least acknowledge the fears, because once you bring it to light, once you acknowledge the fear, then it ceases to have that hold on you. We're only afraid of it because it becomes the boogeyman, right? Under the bed, the monster under the bed, the monster in the closet. It becomes that boogeyman. We become so afraid because we build up that fear in our mind. Or through the fear, we build up that energy in our mind, and it becomes more and more and more. How many times have you in your own life been afraid to do something, and then when you actually took that step and did it, you're like, oh wait, that wasn't that bad? That's the overcoming of fear. Let your desire be greater than your fear. Let your love be greater than your fear. Whatever that is, let your passion be greater than your fear. Acknowledge the fear, but then 20 seconds of insane courage. You get to decide your destiny. Are you going to live in that fear and let that fear hold you back? Or are you going to take that step forward, that conscious step forward, and make that choice? That conscious choice is your empowerment. Be the light. Let that light overcome that fear. Shed that old place of who you were. That's your expansion. That's your evolution. Overcoming the old versions of yourself. And that is a practice. It's a process that you be mindful of every day until you integrate it and it just becomes just a natural part of you. Look back at your journey thus far. Look at how you have transformed thus far and how it was a practice. And now it just feels fully integrated, fully anchored in, so that it just feels like a new natural part of you. This is your power. Beautiful confirmation here. All right, we're going to end here. We're going to have much more channelings to come on energy such as this. As you can hear, I'm very impassioned by this. This feels very impassioned. This feels very much needed at this time. Remember your power. Make those conscious choices. Remember your light. Remember who you are. You're beautiful, sacred you. Don't forget that. Don't let the world turn you against yourself. Don't let the world turn you against others. Tune into your heart space for the truth. Tune into the love for the truth. And allow yourself to be fearless. 20 seconds of insane courage. I am sending you so much love and so much light.